I'm sure all of you have heard of Axie Infinity. It was one of the most popular blockchain games and one of the most popular games for investing in the last bull run. It has had some phenomenal impact. And today we'll analyze what's great about it, what's good, what are the risks, and what should you really be doing for the next bull run. Right. Let's start with this. For all of those people out there who are not aware what Axie really is, Axie is like a Pokemon kind of a game where you have these cute little creatures called Axies, right? All of these creatures are called Axies. You can train them, you can like trade with them, you can breed them, you can battle them, you can go on an adventure. That's pretty much, that's the kind of storyline that exists. So you get three Axies to start with. That was how the original game was, and the game goes on to you breeding, selling, and so on. It's something called a play to earn game. Right? What's a play to earn game? It belongs to a category wherein you can earn money essentially in the form of some tokens, which you can convert into real world money, and a lot of people are making a profession out of it. Right? So this is the first category of the first game rather that belong to the whole play to earn category. And what else is great about it? Well, Axie has had some millions of users, and in their marketplace there is some phenomenal things going on. You can invest in their land, you can trade NFTs. There are some great stuff going on, and that's some of the things that is great about Axie. You can buy and sell Axies, right? You can sell land. You can also breed Axies and sell them off later. You can sell something called a smooth love portion that you get within the game. So there are interesting things that you can trade. Almost $3.6 billion worth of traders happened in their in-house marketplace. $820,000 is the most expensive Axie that was ever sold. Insane, right? There are more than 2.8 million daily active players, right? That's the scale of this game, right? That's the game, right? It's close to $4 billion that has been spent in the game so far. And Axie, at one point of time, was ranked as the number one Ethereum game in terms of daily, weekly, as well as monthly active users. So that's how fantastic this game really was in the last few years. In fact, more than that, it had a real world impact. And this is something that truly is great, because what Axie really did in Vietnam was amazing. Axie literally turned Vietnam into a blockchain, crypto hotspot of sorts. More than that, there was a social angle to it. Axie actually helped a lot of villagers in countries like Philippines, Malaysia, Vietnam, etc. survive the pandemic. How, you ask? Well, Axie was a game that people could play on their phone, right? And people would start playing and they would earn money by just selling off the smooth love portion that they got. As simple as that. And people were making close to $900,000 a month, which was almost 3 times their regular income in some villages in Vietnam. That's how how much of an impact Axie really had on the local population. In fact, Axie also went on to create, or rather the communities went on to create something called the Axie Infinity Scholarship, because at that point of time you needed 3 Axies. You had to buy 3 Axies to start playing, and an Axie would cost anywhere between $150 to $270, I believe. And there was a lot of upfront investment, so a lot of people could not do it. So what would happen is somebody would buy it, they would lend this Axie, and you could, that was this whole scholarship program where they would tell you how to play it, lend the Axie, you start playing, somebody takes a cut of that, the owner of that Axie takes a cut, you get the rest of it in profits. Eventually you can probably purchase your own Axie. That's how it pretty much ran. And what that really showed is that Axie, or rather blockchain games, can become the onboarding vehicle for the whole of Web3. Right? These were average people. Right? It is not the typical crypto nerd who is going and investing in tokens or who is acquiring tokens and coins. These were very average people, very ordinary people, and they were able to get into a blockchain environment, get into the whole Web3 space and start playing. Right? That's what is truly impressive about Axie, and that's what I believe is a example of how games can become the onboarding mechanism for Web3. If you go to their tournaments, esports, there are hundreds of things that are really happening on Axie, right? And that's what is really good about Axie, right? Many tournaments have happened, esports have happened. Who knows, one day you might see it in the Olympics, because esports is going to be a part of the Olympics as well very soon. The next thing is there's a strong community and an accomplished team. If you go down to the community section, let's start with the team, right? If you go down to the team section, you'll see that at the age of 19, Trung co-founded his first startup, and I think he's been on a roller coaster ride since then. You can see the profiles of some of the other main people of this team, and they're all pretty good. Then comes the next aspect of community. The community has done some insane stuff, right? All of that is detailed in this. I'll link it in the description. And this is a very strong community, especially the fact that they've been able to form something like Axie Universities, Axie Scholarship, and so on to help others. Absolutely strong community. If you look at the revenue streams, it's a relatively well thought through revenue stream, right? That is something that is good about it, because I don't think many crypto projects think about how they're actually going to make revenue, right? But they have to eventually. Now, if you look at Axie, you get Axie at least gets revenue from transactions that happen on the marketplace. They get revenue for breeding Axies. They get revenue from sale of NFTs and so on. They get revenue from sale of land, which is there within the Axie metaverse. So these are some of the ways that they get revenue, and they have pretty much thought that through. And as you saw, more than $3.6 billion worth of trade has happened. So there is a good amount of revenue that's coming in. Then another interesting thing about them is they realized that not everybody can buy 3 Axies priced at $150 each, because that's a huge entry barrier, right? You might need like $400, $500 just to start playing the game. Not a great thing. So they realized that to go beyond that initial set of users, they had to do something else, and they introduced something called Axie Infinity Origins. And one of the key things of Axie Infinity Origins was it gave you free Axies, right? It gave you free Axies along with a host of other benefits. But what impressed me is the fact that they understood what was the barrier for more people to come, and they decided to make changes to get them up and going. So that is something that was very good about them. The title of my video is something doesn't seem to be right about Axie Infinity. I've been talking all the good things about it, all the great things about it. Well, let's get to the risks. Right? Let's see what isn't so great about it. The first risk is that the white paper was last updated in November of 2021. It's more than a year. Not very happy with the way they have done that. The next year's worth of white paper, not really updated. So that is something that is risky. The next thing is the risk of dilution, right? If you look at their supply schedule, I think roughly about 40% of the circulating of the tokens are in supply, and we are somewhere over here, and another 60% at least is yet to come out, and which will come out in the next 3 years. So you risk some serious dilution, given that demand might not increase. So that is another big risk. Then there is this whole aspect that people get bored of games, right? People play, it's great, it goes on for a while, then there might be a core group of people who continue playing, but a broader majority who just leave, right? Because they got bored of it. And unless the storyline keeps changing, there is something new, something to keep people engaged, people eventually get bored of games, right? When was the last time you played, let's say, Angry Birds? So people do get bored of games. That's a big risk here, right? And we can already see that because it's fallen to the 11th most played game now, right? If you go to DeFi Llama, you'll see that Axie is on the 11th position at this point of time, right? All the way down from, I think they were in the number 1 ETH game before, and they have crashed down, right? They have crashed to, I think, overall in the 11th position. So that's something that you should probably be aware of, that maybe people will not come back. If you look at the price, right, this is something that you should be careful of. The price pretty much peaked, and now it has come down to the levels that it was before the last bull run, somewhere around $7, $8, $10. That means it has crashed more than 90%, 92%. Of course, a lot of cryptos go back up. That's because a lot of cryptos, maybe like utility cryptos and so on, which have use and their adoption is continuously increasing. With Axie, that's a little difficult to estimate, right? If the adoption of the game does not increase, if it continuously does not get more players, it might be possible that this price might not even reach the price of the previous all-time high, which was, I don't know, somewhere around $150, $160. So if any of you have bought here, then you might be in big trouble. There are a lot of people who might have bought at several points here and they're waiting to exit. And we have seen several cryptos do not reach the previous all-time high, right? Not all cryptos go back and above the all-time high of the previous bull run. So keep that in mind. Axie could be one of those, because the sheer nature of the game, Everything is great about it except for the fact that it's a game that people might get ultimately bored of, and Axie Origins is not doing so well. So what should you really be doing? Well, first play the game, because among all the crypto projects, there are very few that you can really start using very easily. I think Axie Infinity is one of those. So do go and play the game, try it out, do your own research, of course. Share this video with your friends and subscribe to the channel. If you like this video, do subscribe to the channel and tell your friends about it. Welcome to the Wave Crypto Club.